Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The Admiral in charge of the mission that killed 2 survivors of a boat strike is testifying to Congress today. In the private hearing, Admiral Frank Bradley is expected to tell lawmakers both men were still in the fight.
President Trump told reporters he's willing to release video of the follow-up strike if it exists. George Thomas has the latest.
Both Republicans and Democrats are pursuing inquiries into a second strike on suspected drug traffickers that killed 2 survivors of the initial attack. New reports say the follow-up attack was ordered as the survivors tried to climb back onto the boat to salvage the drug cargo. Officials determined they were still in the fight. The operations commander, Admiral Frank Bradley, is expected to testify in Congress today.
Bradley is going to be facing some pretty pointed questions when he sits down with members of Congress. Some Democrats have alleged that a war crime occurred when the U.S. military struck the survivors of that boat. Others have said they committed murder.
The Trump administration maintains the military acted lawfully and within the rules of armed conflict. So far, the government has released only 1 video from the September 2nd strike.
But not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
The controversy comes as the defense secretary is also under scrutiny for sidestepping government rules by using the encrypted app Signal to share sensitive information of a U.S. military attack on Houthi rebels in Yemen back in March. This week, a Pentagon watchdog found he shared operational details that, if intercepted, could have put troops at risk. Hegseth fired back on X, writing, "No classified information, total exoneration, case closed. Houthis bombed into submission. Thank you for your attention to this IG report." Despite growing calls for his resignation, CBN political analyst David Brody says Hegseth is unlikely to step down.
MAGA still has his back, and it's important to really track not liberals so much, but where the MAGA base is. If the MAGA base is frustrated, then you could see something, but I don't see it with Hegseth.
George Thomas, CBN News.
We'll keep you posted on those hearings and the update on what Congress is going to do with the testimony. Well, in other news, we're going to Israel. This week, more than 1,000 pastors and Christian influencers are in the Holy Land to show their support for Israel. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
And Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
A partnership between Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Friends of Zion Museum led to the unprecedented visit.
It's the first time in history the State of Israel has officially partnered with 1,000 strategic pastors to commission them as ambassadors to combat anti-Semitism and reach the youth of their generation.
Dr. Mike Evans says Israel's fight is not just on the battlefield.
Right now, there's an ideological war that Israel's losing. So they need the evangelicals, they need the Zionists to fight an ideological war.
One of the goals of this gathering is to strengthen Christian support during a time of growing global anti-Semitism. They say the pulpit must speak louder than the propaganda.
So it's just, I think, an extraordinary time for pastors to go to their pulpits and to speak with clarity and with boldness and to push back on the anti-Semitism, the bigotry that is being pushed toward Jewish people and toward the people of Israel.
Unfortunately, the pulpit has become quiet about those things. We've allowed cultural voices to speak louder to the congregation than the pastors have on these topics. So it's been motivating to make sure that we go back and bring the message of who Israel is to the Lord and our role as Christians to continue to support and pray for Israel.
There is a growing cancer within the evangelical movement in America where people are thinking Israel doesn't matter and there's nothing biblical about our relationship to Israel. This is very dangerous.
Ambassador Huckabee, a former pastor, sees a rising danger in the church.
Because this idea that God will break his covenant, or he has broken his covenant with the Jewish people, it borders on blasphemy. Because if God will break his covenant with the Jewish people, what on earth makes me think as a Christian that he will keep his covenant with me?
Wednesday, the pastors went to the Nova Music Festival site, where Hamas terrorists slaughtered 378 and kidnapped 44.
That was emotional. That was devastating. I have 4 teenage children in Austin. We go to music festivals. That's what you do in Austin. And to think about the kind of terror that those young people experienced, it's just unfathomable.
Jiwa believes pastors need to see Israel for themselves.
The narrative that the mainstream media, especially in the U.S., has been fed, or the messages that are out there, I think that pastors and church leaders all need to come and understand and see the truth about the matter, the true story, and what actually happened here.
This gathering is a prelude to a massive campaign planned for next year.
We're launching in 2026 a global program to reach 1 million pastors and 1 million churches globally to teach them a biblical worldview so they realize God's not canceling any promises to the Jewish people, and he's not canceling them to the Christians either.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
God keeps his covenant, and as Christians, we need to recognize that the covenant with Abraham, the covenant with Moses, continues on to this day. He does not change. He is the Lord. He changes not. When he promises something, when he makes a covenant, he fully intends to keep it until that day. Now, as a Christian, I really enjoy the new covenant. It's a covenant that was made with the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. But I have to recognize Christianity is a Jewish religion. And Jesus was Jewish, and the New Testament was predominantly written by Jews who came to realize that Jesus was the Messiah. If the Jewish people are slow to recognize that, that's predicted in the Bible too. And just any casual reading of the book of Romans, you come to the conclusion, because Paul states it plainly, all Israel will be saved. Why? Because God keeps his covenant.